It'll be great. Right now, what I want to get you guys prepared for is fancy time. So let's get ready for fancy time. Hello, I'm Gerald, and this is Fancy Time. On today's Fancy Time, we're going to talk about Marie Antoinette. For those of you who don't know, Marie Antoinette quite possibly started what we call drip. Some people think drip just recently started. Nah, people been dripping all their freaking life, don't you get it? And Marie might be the OG original freaking gangster of dripping. You understand? Let me give you a little background real quick on Marie Antoinette. Marie, she loved her things, as we say, everything. We're talking jewels, we're talking makeup, we're talking hair, we're talking clothes. Specifically, if we're gonna get real deep down in how much her drip was, she invented a freaking color, folks. A freaking color. We're talking puce. Yeah, look it up. P-U-C-E, puce. She made it. It exists because of her. Do you understand how freaking fancy this chick was? She got so freaking fancy. People were starving in her own country. Alright? And she's up there with a goddamn walk-in house worth of clothes. A house of clothes. People living on the streets drinking puddle water. Well, she's got a house of clothes. And they just asked her, they said, there's not enough bread. And she said, let them freaking eat cake then. The freak do I care? Do you understand what I'm saying? This lady has people drinking puddle water, and she's got a house of clothes. That's drip on another level. That's dripping out drink, don't you get it? Jesus, people, you want to talk fancy? Marie Antoinette is Miss Fancy. It don't get no fancier than Miss Marie Antoinette. Her mom, Marie Theresa, she sat there, she babied her like a freaking freak. And then she goes up, she marries freaking Louis the 16th. Oh, great, Louis, yeah. Well, guess what? You know what happened to her? She got so freaking fancy with her freaking drip. Finally, excuse me, I'm getting stressed out. She got so freaking fancy for her own freaking country. Excuse me. She got so freaking fancy finally, they got freaking fed up with her. They took her and they freaking put her up in a tower and had her in captain. We're talking like some goddamn Rapunzel bullshit is what I'm talking about right now. This is what they did to Marie. I ain't lying. You can go on the old Googly and look her up, Mrs. Marie. You know what they did in return for that fucking lady to do what she freaking did? They put her up there and they gave her 3 dresses. Poop brown, they called it flea or some dumb thing, you know, I don't know. They gave her a freaking light colored dress, and then they gave her a common woman's dress. They took her fancy away, and they showed her what it's like to be normal. Well, let me tell you, we ain't ever not gonna be fancy. So don't you ever let nobody put you in no tower like you Rapunzel and give you 3 things. No, we're fancy. And that's fancy time. Now, some of you may know what a fancy sauce is, but we like to add fancy on fancy. It's almost doubly fancy. The fancy? We can call it the fancy if we want. Anyway, this is what you need. A good bowl. Boom. Load up the ingredients, folks.
There's a reason why we call it fancy. Because it's freaking fancy. Hellmann's, mayonnaise, key, base. Ketchup, second in line, base. Greek yogurt, plain. If you get any freaking flavors, you're a dummy. You understand? This me? You see that? That's all you need. You don't need. I don't even need all this. Christ. I'll give it to some cat or something. Jesus Christ. Hoisin sauce. My own addition. Do you understand? Do what makes you feel good. That's what's important. Sour cream. Another addition by me. People don't think this makes sense. They're foolish. You want something that tastes delicious? Hey, you hate mayonnaise? Do you hate freaking mayonnaise? Hey, make a tuna with sour cream instead of mayonnaise. You tell me what you think. Milk. Milk. And it's Oakhurst. You don't get any other milk. Do you understand? Shout out Oakhurst. That's my boy. That's my friend. That's my childhood. Oakhurst. So, folks, what you want to do is, as I told y'all, you just need a nice bowl right here. What I like to start with is what I tell y'all, a base. Season, season, season. So, throw some pepper in there, right in the bottom. It's your preference. What do you like? You like it peppery, you like it not. Throw a little salt in there, get it looking pretty. These are the other two key ingredients to spice up the life, as we say. Told you once, I'll tell you again. Simply organic. Chipotle powder. Folks, I told you a dusting once, I'll tell you a dusting again. All these other people say pinches, quarter this, quarter that, teaspoon, tablespoon, what is it? Come on, folks, you make food. What looks good to you? So you put a little dusting in there. Not a dusting, a little dusting. If you do a whole dusting, you're almost like Dustin Timberlake. Like, let's not do that. Come on, folks. Next, paprika, smoked. It's better. It's better than cheddar. Again, little dusting. Get her in there. Make her feel good. That's what's important. Make her feel good. Okay? Next, now we get into a little bit of general visual measurements. This is the only time, folks, I don't like to measure. None of us like to measure. It's a joke. If y'all remember Grandma never measured. Grandma took it and did what looked right. And that's why Grandma's shit tasted the freaking best. Because Grandma knew. You understand? So listen, I don't like to measure. But we will measure roughly on these next things. So what I've got here, folks, is, as I told you, core ingredients. Ketchup, mayonnaise, classics, Heinz, Hellmann's. You gotta come in with daisies though. Listen, folks, I will tell you day after day after day, mayonnaise is freaking gross, but it's needed, all right? It's needed. You can't freak around when you're making certain things without mayonnaise, you understand? So, what we'll start, 1/3 cup mayonnaise. That's where you start. It's your base. It's not a joke. It's not a thing. I don't freaking like it, so don't get mad at me, you understand? So we'll give it a little shaky. Look, was I exact? No. You freaking care? No. It's not important. Don't y'all understand? Don't listen to directions. You are a person. You know. You know what you eat. You know what you like. You know what you want. You understand? Next, throw a little bit of ketchup in there. I'll tell you what. Now, we're just gonna keep it right in this 1/3 cup. You understand? This is 1/3. I'm telling you, put the ketchup in that makes it feel appropriate for you. But what I like to do, doggy, about 1/2 of 1/3. You can call it 1/6, whatever the frick. What I'm saying is these things are not important, you understand? Greek yogurt. Another example. Listen. You don't need all this. You're probably gonna throw it away after because it's gross. But you almost put a half of a third, you understand? You just put a glop in there. Or it's like what we like to say. A dabble do ya. Put her in there. Get her looking sexy. Let her know she's there. That's what's important. You need to let her know that she's there. If she doesn't know that she's there, it's a problem. You understand? Next, this is me. We're getting into the Gerald part. Listen, all that is what you're supposed to have in there. Preference of measurements, that's fine. This is me. Mayonnaise is freaking gross. I told you once, I'll tell you again. Mayonnaise is freaking gross. So you take a dab of sour cream, because a dab will do you. You throw her in there. You understand? Listen. These are all great times. You see the hoisin sauce? Hoisin. It's good stuff. This is great to just give you that twang, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it any other way, but this is I don't want to call it a dab. I'll call it a dollar.
A dip.
A dip.
A dip.
A dip of hoisin. That's all it needs.
Dip of hoisin. Ooh, that's a dip.
You ever go up to a lake?
That's a dip right there, if you didn't know.
Folks.
Quantum measurements here.
Fakes, if you ever gone up to a lake and you say, what's up with this water? It's like, well, I don't know if it's cold. I don't know if it's warm. It's like, I'll just take a dip. It's just a little bit. That's what's important. And if you take a dip, you understand. You know what I mean? So, folks, we got our seasons. We got our bases. That's what's key. After that, we have our additions. So what we like to do from here is to unify what we've created. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't want to get all fancy with my words. I might even make up a word. Unification? I don't even think that's a freaking word. Unification. That's what we're doing today, folks. This is unification. You understand? Now, some of you might not have this wrist power and this aggression and angriness, which I understand. So you might have to get on a mixer. That's fine. But if you can whip your hoisin into a submission, you'll understand. Oh, yes. So, folks, we talked about it. It's fancy sauce. We seen it. We believed it. The true thing of fancy sauce, though, is its coloration. So, two things we like to do once you pre-mix what you created. Do you understand? This is fancy sauce. But listen, what I always tell you, it's way easier to overcook than it is to undercook. But if you undercook, you work yourself up to perfection. That's what we always do. That's why I don't listen to directions. Don't listen to it's preference. It's preference. Alright? So look at this. It ain't fancy enough yet. So what do? We look at it and we say, why ain't this fancy? Because it needs a little love from okay. You just a dab will do ya. You start with a dab. We don't have proper coloration yet, so we throw in old Heinz 57. Some of you don't know that Heinz used to be called 57 because it had 57 ingredients. Sounds crazy, but you put another dab in there because a dab will do you, folks. You understand? And you get this fancy looking fancy. So, folks, I'll tell you, everyone's got their preference. This is why listen, when you're cooking, you always go under, not over. You don't need to be special. If you try to be special, that's when you have shit. You understand? You can make special things, but you just undo it. Double check. Make sure she's good. That's how you make pretty fancy sauce. You understand? Look at this consistency. You see that? It's just gloopy. That's fancy sauce, folks. You understand? I'm not trying to be here and be your sauce leader, but I'm letting you know that's fancy.